No matter what situation you're in at the moment, you should always bulk make before you release. I think this is looking better. Hi. I managed to upload comics once a week along with a full-time job. So when I first started making the comic that I'm making right now for Webtoons and Tapas, I actually decided to do the method of making a bulk amount of pages before actually releasing the comic, which is usually what you kind of want to do when first making a comic and releasing it. Even if you're doing it more casually, I still think that it's a healthy habit to prepare pages before actually releasing them. Have at least 5 pages or 10 pages done. For Webtoons, pages technically count as an episode, and when I say a page in Webtoon terms, I'm kind of saying 5 pages in one page or one episode, just for the ease of it. When I say page, I mean standard US print. On Webtoons, I would just compile them to be an episode, and each episode only had probably about 3 pages in one episode. Unless the pages are simple and easy to pump out, I really recommend just going for 1 release a week, because anything more can overwhelm you, and then that's when you kind of get stuck. Once you actually have a cushion of pages ready, you won't have that anxiety of how can I stay consistent, because you would have had already prepared yourself. So I scheduled for each Webtoon to be released once a week. Traffic usually comes on around Saturdays or Sundays, and the weekends. It might be different for your country, but that's an easy Google search away. At a certain point, I was going crazy and I was releasing 2 episodes a week, and I do not recommend that, especially when you're first starting out and you have a very busy schedule. Like me, you'll end up running out of pages and going on hiatus and then falling back into that hole of not producing anything and not making your story, and you just lose so much of your progress. I know it's really hard, because when you're really excited about a project and you're making it and you're inking it and doing all that cool stuff and advertising it, it can be really hard not to just want to release pages immediately. But trust me, in the long run, it will just save so much stress, and you will just be able to make pages with higher quality because you won't be stressing about meeting that deadline. There is a way to be able to manage that time that we have effectively. When we just rush into things, ironically, that loses us time, because now I'm stuck in this limbo of not really being able to upload as often as I want, and I don't have that schedule, that weekly schedule anymore, because I don't have any pages, because I haven't made any pages, because I released all of them quickly and I ran out of the stock that I had. Yeah, and you'll lose motivation. You know, it is insane, because I gained a huge amount of followers for that comic, and within that short amount of time that I wasn't uploading, it's really hard to gain that back, especially when you've already released that comic. So just remember that. If you're looking for a lot of viewers, you gotta keep up the activity, because otherwise people will probably fall off. And it is a little bit hard to get people back when you've already released it. You might end up having to do some advertising elsewhere, like TikTok or YouTube Shorts, and which isn't a bad thing. I think you should be doing that regardless. But just to let you know that is something that does happen. So don't do what I did. Stay focused. No matter how much you're itching to release as many pages as you can and tell the full story as quick as you can, don't do that. Because if you don't have the pages, then how are you going to tell that story? Don't be so hard on yourself on the first time. Unless you have magic powers, most of the time, your first production of something isn't always going to be the greatest. And that's okay, because, you know, I think that that's something that you should embrace. The newness, or the new territory that you're going into, because you're going to be learning a lot of stuff, and you're going to be exploring a lot of stuff, and making mistakes, and then gaining wisdom, and then sharing your wisdom, and then helping others, and then, you know, inspiring others. And I think that has a lot of value that's worth not giving up on. Try it out. And there is no real deadline to any of this. If you're just making a comic, just remember, don't overstress yourself. This is something that is supposed to bring you happiness and fulfillment. And if you're doing it for some other reason, like money or immediate recognition, you're not gonna get that. But that doesn't mean that you should be hopeless, because if you keep on pursuing something that you really love, and something that you find enjoyment out of, then you'll get there. You'll reach that state of being that you've always kind of dreamt of being at. Hopefully this helped. If you have any questions about anything, like, I'm always open. So I'm going to try to practice my own preachings and actually make a bulk amount of videos, document as much as I can of my own comic making and projects and such, and try and motivate myself and try to keep myself more accountable. And if following my process in doing that helps you, then feel free to stick around. So yeah, so just don't give up.